we were talking about one of the, one of the greatest games that I've played in recent memory. I would definitely at this point put it on my list as one of the greatest games of all time. And the future of it is something that I'm super excited about. And it had one of the biggest, most anticipated moments to like one of the biggest falls from grace to one of the greatest rises we've ever seen once again in the form of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that game is truly something special. As I said to you yesterday, man, I put in the time and the heart and dedication into it when it first launched during that really rough month of when it first came out. And even then, when it was such a mess and it still felt amazing. Like the story was great. I loved all the characters. I cannot remember a single character that I didn't like, except for maybe some like people who were designed to be hated.
Yeah.
But like most of the characters, they're all great. The story, the weapons, they all just looked unique and they felt different to what I was usually playing at the time.
And CD Projekt Red, man, they, I mean, we were talking about how they pivoted in a moment. They did not. They showed they believed in this product, and so that's why I believe I'm so like behind CD Projekt Red at this point because man, they were taking so much flack for that release. And for
I got
Cyberpunk,
nothing but the respect for those guys. They put in the heart and soul into that game, and it worked amazingly.
Yeah, and I think like when I think about it, I mean they do that with all their projects. They really do put everything they had, but they were pressured by investors to release the game early. For those of you guys who don't know this,
fans too were not very happy about it either. I remember seeing on multiple forums saying, "What is CG Projekt Red doing, pushing back this game for another month? Are they even going to release something good?"
Yeah, and then they release it, and it was super buggy, glitchy. I mean, there was all kinds of problems at launch, and they had two decisions really to make, or two choices in terms of what they wanted to do. The first one was abandon the game, and the second was to double down. Put their big boy pants on and go after it and fix the game. And they decided to fix the game. Well, really what they did was they canceled the multiplayer that they were working on.
Yeah.
And they focused all their resource and development on
the single player.
On that single player.
Not to mention they took the game off the stores for PlayStation and PC. It was only on Xbox when it first came out for like that first initial month, which I thought was a ballsy move on their part because in my eyes, I was like, you guys are barely making it by. You guys got a lot to prove.
Yeah. But I mean, bro.
Oh, yeah. And don't even get me started on Phantom Liberty. This is even just without Phantom Liberty. The game is just amazing. And they just keep adding more.
Yeah.
And it just baffles me. Just like how much of a comeback this game made. You don't see that ever.
Do you think it's the greatest comeback ever?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the only one that we really brought up that could have been, you could compare to it would have been No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah.
And that was that Hello Games? Are they the ones who made that one?
I'm not so sure. I don't really follow No Man's Sky that
No
much.
Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But No Man's Sky had a very shaky launch. I think the biggest difference for me, though, was that Cyberpunk was so anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, No Man's Sky was kind of like, what is this? But, like, Cyberpunk, for those of you who don't remember, that game was, I mean, everybody was talking about Cyberpunk.
Everybody and their mother was talking about that.
The only thing I can really think of that could compare to the excitement and hype for Cyberpunk 2077 is probably GTA 6.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, GTA 6 is for sure.
No one shuts up about it.
No. But Cyberpunk at the time was like, dude, this is the game.
And they just kept releasing trailers. They kept giving snippets. They're like, say, hey, we're still working on this. And yes, we're going to make sure that this game is good. And they did.
Yeah. They made it right. They did an unbelievable job. And so now it leads us to the future. So now we've got Cyberpunk Orion.
Yeah.
They have a small team that is now working on Cyberpunk Orion. They had a bunch of developers that they moved over to Boston. They flew to Boston, a small team, to start working on Cyberpunk Orion. We'll get to The Witcher 4 here in a sec, but Cyberpunk Orion is going to be releasing, allegedly at some point after The Witcher 4.
Makes sense. They want to focus more on The Witcher right now because that's what most people are hyped about right now.
Exactly. And so what do you think?
Plus, I cannot mention how because I have a buddy of mine who's a big Witcher fan, and he's always been saying like, man, Now it's Cyberpunk's done. Where's The Witcher 4? When can I get it?
Yeah, and The Witcher 4 is gonna, dude, that's
Oh
gonna,
yeah,
it's gonna be
I have no doubt in
incredible.
my mind it's gonna be good.
Yeah, but with Cyberpunk, where do you think they should go with this like? I mean, whether we're talking a continuation, are they going to go to a different time period or something? Like are they going to go to Taicho, like the moon planet? Like where are they? The thing is I'm trying to figure out like where would be the best place for them to put Cyberpunk Orion.
Well, you got a couple options. With a name like Orion, you could obviously either go to the moon, which is a good valid option, but you could also have it take place in that space station that was in one of the endings.
Mm.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another option. You could either go there, or here's a curveball. Why not Tokyo? Because that's where Arasaka's headquarters is.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting place to take for it to take place.
Do you think it should like pick up right where we left off, or do you think they should go in the past or slightly in the future?
Well, it's going to be hard because for the future at least, because no one knows what V did as far as canon, unless I don't know if it's in the comic books or whatever, whatnot. But if you do the past, it's going to be hard to have stuff line up with the future. So you could either do same time, different place, just not in Night City, or you can have it be past or future.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. There's so many different directions they could go with this. I mean, it's wild.
The options are limitless. They could do it anywhere.
Yeah, they really could.
Yeah.
Okay, so a question about that. Like, let's just say theoretically they go pretty much right after the ending of Cyberpunk 2077 and like Phantom Liberty and so on and so forth.
But with that question, it always basically boggles down to which ending happened.
Yeah.
From what?
Okay. Let me put this in context. Let's say, well, no matter which way you play it, is Jackie really dead?
Yes. No matter what, he is definitely.
So do you think that they are going to bring him back in some like capacity in the new one? I'm saying if they went directly as a direct continuation or direct sequel to 2077, like because they could like save his memory.
I mean, it is the future with extremely high tech, so I can always say it's plausible.
Yeah,
but with
it's
Jackie,
unlikely. We'll get like new. We'll most likely get like just new characters.
Most likely new characters.
Yeah.
Maybe with a couple hints from older characters, like maybe an aged up V or an aged up Victor, or maybe better. Here's a curveball: aged up Lucy.
Oh, dude.
Because that outfit that she was wearing in the end of Phantom Liberty, it looked like she was some sort of mercenary, like V was. It felt like she was out on the job, and since she never left Night City, she would probably have to find out some way to make money.
Yeah.
She just looked like someone who's been on the streets for a while, as far as like someone who works.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think the reason why I'm bringing up Jackie is because he is one of the most talked about things. Like when you go on like the subreddits and stuff, it's like everybody's talking about Jackie. Is he dead? Is he not dead? And you know what I think? I fully trust CD Projekt Red to create some really like some new characters, whether they're talking future, present, or past.
I mean, we saw that with Edge Runners.
100%.
Yeah. Those were completely new people besides David, because David had that drink in the afterlife.
Yeah.
That was the only character as far as I remember. I mean, I don't know fully, but it's the only one I know of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some other characters maybe talked about, like, I think Maine was at like one of the shards, because I remember seeing his name once or twice. I think, I don't know. I haven't played Cyberpunk in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Well, okay. So I want to preface this with like this kind of, speaking about Cyberpunk Orion, we already kind of mentioned, the game's probably going to be coming out, guys, at some point after The Witcher 4, because they're going to, I mean, most of their resources going towards The Witcher 4, which we're going to talk about here in a sec.
Yeah.
Small team working on Cyberpunk, so I'm sure that they're definitely in the lab.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to bring multiplayer into Cyberpunk Orion?
Well, the thing is with multiplayer is, in my opinion, if a single player likes Cyberpunk, or like, for example, Dead Island, it works if you have 2 to 4 player co-op. Yeah. I think that's what I think that's what a lot of games have forgotten nowadays is that 2-player co-op is an option.
You think co-op in Cyberpunk Orion would be a better option than going like the full-blown multiplayer
Yes,
aspect?
100%. Because I've noticed that with a lot of multiplayer games, it usually what might kill the game. Because not only do you have to pay to run servers, but on the off chance the game dies for whatever reason it may be, now you've got a bunch of servers that you can't pay for, and you'll basically just either snip the multiplayer completely out or just go straight into single player.
Yeah.
I think that's what I noticed. Another game that had that problem was Anthem. That was another game that was just I was really excited for. The only thing I'll say positive about it is the flying. You felt like Iron Man. It was smooth like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, co-op is, in my opinion, just a slept on feature.
Yeah. I got to agree with you. I mean, like co-op, the only thing I can think of with like a Cyberpunk multiplayer would be like a Cyberpunk Online, similar to like a GTA Online in a Cyberpunk world.
See, that could work too. I can totally see that working too, but it would have to be most likely third person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Probably. Well, yeah.
I mean, Elder Scrolls Online
it's interesting
works.
because they have that mod in Cyberpunk 2077 that you can be in third person.
Yeah.
They do have that mod. So I don't know if it's hard to say whether they would do it in first person or third person or give you the option. I don't know.
Elder Scrolls Online made it work.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, okay. So the last thing I want to bring up, this is, I was thinking, and I don't even know how I'm going to even answer this question, but let's go back to the release of Cyberpunk 2077. All right.
Okay.
Bear with me here.
No problem.
So let's say Cyberpunk 2077 releases to the world and doesn't have all the issues. It doesn't have any issues when it releases. And it's obviously, you can say as perfect as it can be, right?
As basically is what it is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, 100%.
Does it have the impact, and how does it change? Like, would it have the impact that it does now, or like, would it be much bigger at this point in time if it was, started off really good?
Well, with that, I would probably definitely say it would be massively bigger. If Cyberpunk released as it is now, back then, without a shadow of doubt, game of the year, without a shadow of a doubt, most likely having Cyberpunk quote unquote 2 on the way, probably directly either before or after The Witcher 4. And definitely it would be having probably another DLC on that onto it.
That's exactly how I was thinking about it too. I was like, because they would have, because it got a lot of people turned off when the game came out buggy and all of those things. People canceled their, obviously a lot of cancellations, things of that nature. And so I do agree with you. I think it would have been so much bigger because it would have won like Game of the Year.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
They would have had the online already. They could have been updating and figuring that whole element of the game out. They would have, probably more DLCs. So I'm with you. It would
definitely at least one more DLC as at this point. Because I know a lot of time. Because I know Phantom Lair took a minute.
Yeah,
but it was worth it. Without a shadow of a doubt, worth it. It's gas. You got memorable characters, memorable voice actors. You got a John Wick reference. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally with you, man. We wouldn't have the story that we do, the narrative and the storylines with CD Projekt Red, like the greatest comeback of all time. We wouldn't have gotten that.
No.
But I mean, I agree with you. I think it would be absolutely huge at this point for sure.